So today with Insider Tech Tips, we're going to go from the basics and work our way up to more advanced things. So today, let's say you go out to your vehicle, you go try to start it, and nothing happens. All the lights go off, or they flicker, or you hear a little bit of a tick coming somewhere from around the engine. What your issue is likely coming from your battery. So your battery here, you have a positive and a negative. The positive typically is indicated with a red cable or a cover on it. You can also distinguish this on the battery. There'll be a marking for a positive and a negative. Positive being the plus, negative being the minus, which is a ground. So a lot of the times on people's vehicles, if your battery is more than 4 or 5 years old, the actual plates inside of it are going to start to get oxidized, and or they may have lost the fluid, which is sulfuric acid and distilled water typically, that's inside the battery. And there's metal, or there's lead plates that sit all along here, and they're connected through the polarities, which go up to your battery terminals here. I don't know if you can see this very well, but this edge right out here, all this is kind of like moist. That's the sulfuric acid actually leaking out of the battery. The reason being is because when the alternator is supplying power to the vehicle, the lead plates are not able to absorb the electrons that are coming through. So instead, it boils off the sulfuric acid, it leaks out this fluid, and after a while, when that fluid depletes and it becomes low on the battery, no longer will the battery have enough electrolyte solution inside of it to start the vehicle. Before, back in the days, they used to be serviceable batteries, where all you had to do was put more distilled water in it, and that just balanced out the amount that may have evaporated throughout the atmosphere. Um, in addition to that, the amount of sulfuric acid in there, it doesn't have to be a high percentage, so that balances it out. It's kind of like if you're making pasta or something, that water is going to boil off, but if you leave that pot with just water in it solely, it'll boil down, and all the minerals and salt and everything will be precipitated to the bottom. But obviously, you put more water in there, it'll kind of rejuvenate things and keep it going. So this battery here is a Value EverStart Walmart series. Literally, most batteries have a indicator when they were manufactured or inventoried. This one is 822. Currently, we are here in September of 23, so this battery is a year and a month old. Um, Another thing to end up looking out for is on your terminals. Typically be green substance that's kind of crusty and on them. That's that sulfuric acid coming up and oxidizing as well. So sometimes all that you need to end up doing is just to clean the actual terminal itself, this cable, the inside of this coupling, and the actual terminal coming off the battery. Um, Another thing to mention on older batteries, when they're starting to fail, you'll start to end up seeing a black layer around the inner ring of this. So if you take this terminal off, you'll see black. That's the black oxide coming from the magnesium, the lead, the phosphoric acid, and it's all causing a chemical reaction. If you look at rust inhibitors on cars, it's a similar way, or drill bits, they do a black oxide. It's a similar matter, but it puts a coating on there. And when that little, you couldn't even see it, when that layer builds up on there, it's no longer be able to make contact. It's like if you had this covered in wax or even a piece of paper, it wouldn't be able to make continuity within the circuitry. The next thing is, if you have a multimeter, this is going to be the best tool that you can end up investing around your house and at your home. I'll grab mine, but literally you take the multimeter, you switch it on direct DC, which should be the wave symbol, and then put your positive, negative, and check what your battery is. If your battery is less than 12 volts, the vehicle will not start. It does not have enough cold cranking amps, which you multiply your amps by your voltage, and that gives you your total amount of um, watts or amps that you currently have accessible to the vehicle. So when it drops below 12 volts, the vehicle is no longer able to start. You may have lights come on in your instrument cluster, your radio may come on, but you go to try to turn it and the dash either blacks out, it flickers, or you hear a clicking sound here from the starter. So what you can do in that case, check, see how old your battery is. Okay, I've owned my vehicle for 4 or 5 years now, and I haven't replaced the battery. Well, it's probably time to be replaced. The other thing in addition to this, is you can take your battery over to, say, one of the auto stores, and they can charge and test the battery to tell you if the cells are holding and if the fluid is still good. Don't ask them these questions. Their machine just tells them good, bad, and it tells you what the voltage was on it and how much charge it held. So a good investment, as you see these cables hooked up here, this is what's called just a battery charger. This one you can pick up at O'Reilly's. It's a Schumacher. This one goes up to 85 amps. It does standard absorbent glass mat, gel batteries. You have 6 to 2 amps charge and maintain. You have your boost, and you have your engine start. As you see right now, this is sitting at 12 volts. So in theory, we should have just about enough to start this vehicle. Typically your battery, when it's off, sitting and cold, it'll be sitting roughly right around 12 to 12.9 volts. When the vehicle's running, it'll be between 12.5 up to 14 volts. So this is always great to have. If you have a vehicle you don't drive every week, I would suggest to get one of these and put it on charge and maintain and tender the battery. Better yet, if you can take the battery out of the vehicle and set it off to the side on the charger, that's even better. That will reset your radio. It'll reset some of the parameters for the engine. In closed loop, the ECU will try to calibrate, and it'll try to use things like the throttle position controller, maybe an idle air controller, EGR, things upon such lines to balance out the idle. So anytime you end up replacing the battery, start the car, let it sit there for maybe 5 or 10 minutes or until it gets up to operating temperature, and then you can go ahead and drive the vehicle, rev it up, whatever you have to end up doing. That's my recommendation. The next thing is, within that, some vehicles you may have to calibrate the throttle pedal with the throttle body. All that you have to end up doing in that is take your key, put it in, go 1-2 turns till you get all your lights, all the stuff on, and then your gas pedal, slowly press it all the way down, all the way back up, and you can do that 2 or 3 times. Cycle your key off and cycle it back on to accessory, and do it once or twice more, and you're good to go. What that'll do, that'll correspond. It'll be able to give the ECU a reading, because when you do that, the throttle actually opens on the engine when you hit the pedal and have the key in like that. So it kind of syncs it up. You can use a scanner and softwares and other things to go in there and calibrate it. This is just the rough basics. So something else I was not mentioning. So as you can see, this flashing light right here,